Donald Trump takes major hit as Supreme Court strikes down his tariffs in stunning move. The Supreme Court made the 6-3 ruling on Friday, February 4, 2024. Need to know. On Friday, February 20, the Supreme Court struck down President Donald Trump's emergency tariffs on imports that he invoked last year. The 6-3 ruling is a massive setback for the president's administration, but there are already plans to find alternative routes to impose tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing, Trump said in October. In a major blow to President Donald Trump's administration, the Supreme Court struck down his emergency tariffs on imports. On Friday, February 20, the Supreme Court ruled that the president had exceeded his authority when he imposed unprecedented tariffs on imports from almost every U.S. trading partner. The New York Times reported, the 6-3 decision comes after 3 lower courts deemed the tariffs unlawful. Last year, Trump made headlines and sent shockwaves through the world when he invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to impose tariffs on imported goods, impacting more than 100 countries, according to the paper. No other president had previously used the law to implement tariffs, and Trump's announcement meant that most imports faced a 10% baseline duty, with some nations navigating higher tariffs if they didn't concede to trade agreements with the U.S., Time reported. In addition, certain imports from Mexico, Canada, and China faced additional tariffs. In response, many countries began increasing taxes on U.S. goods in retaliation. The U.S. stock market took a remarkable dive, and politicians on both sides of the aisle spoke out in dissent. The majority in the Supreme Court affirmed that imposing taxes and tariffs is a power that belongs to Congress, and the 1977 statute does not enable the president to impose tariffs as he did last year, according to the outlet. The ruling eliminates the 10% baseline tariff that Trump announced in his Liberation Day speech, as well as the drug trafficking tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, and the 145% effective rate on most Chinese goods. The president asserts the extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote, according to Time. In light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted authority, he must identify clear congressional authorization to exercise it. We hold that IEEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs, he continued. In his concurring ruling, Associate Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote, "For those who think it important for the nation to impose more tariffs, I understand that today's decision will be disappointing. All I can offer them is that most major decisions affecting the rights and responsibilities of the American people, including the duty to pay taxes and tariffs, are funneled through the legislative process for a reason. Yes, legislating can be hard and take time, and yes, it can be tempting to bypass Congress when some pressing problem arises," he continued. But the deliberative nature of the legislative process was the whole point of its design. Through that process, the nation can tap the combined wisdom of the people's elected representatives, not just that of one faction or man. If history is any guide, the tables will turn, and the day will come when those disappointed by today's result will appreciate the legislative process for the bulwark of liberty it is. The ruling is a massive setback for President Trump. His administration has said that such a loss could force officials to pull back from trade deals with other nations and possibly pay large refunds to importers, the Times reported. The battle over tariffs is far from over. According to the paper, the president began looking into alternatives to the statute before the Friday ruling. Jameson Greer, the U.S. trade representative, told the Times last month that if Trump's tariffs were overturned, the administration would start the next day to re-invoke them. The reality is the president is going to have tariffs as part of his trade policy going forward, Greer said, according to the paper. A 2025 study published by Intereconomics entitled The Trade Deficit Delusion: Why Tariffs Will Not Make America Great Again found that tariff policies are ineffective for correcting trade imbalances and could exacerbate them. The study added that such tariffs could negatively affect both U.S. and European economies through disrupted trade flows, increased economic uncertainty, and instability in financial markets. In the president's view, tariffs are a crucial way to maintain the country's standing, according to Time. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing, Trump told the outlet in October. Tariffs are a very important tool for our defense, for our national security.